with her.
In
He's
progress.
been violent with other individuals, and he did tell her that if he wanted to, he could kill her. And as I stated to the court, he has instructed his followers to reach out to her. Your Honor, in looking at all four of these factors, there is no way that this court can grant the defendant bond. I understand that the defense will argue that he is alleged to have committed these acts and that he is innocent of these offenses. But even outside of that, even outside of what he is part of in this cult and his actions, as far as his criminal history and what he does in these videos and what people have come forward, he is a significant risk to the community, and therefore bond should not be granted.
Thank you, counsel. Defense?
Thank you, Your Honor. The alleged facts in this case, they grab your attention, Judge. You might even call them shocking, but what I am going to ask that the court does here is see past those allegations, because Mr. Bishop does remain cloaked in the presumption of innocence, as the court is aware. And instead, I ask that the court laser focus on the Ayala factors and consider granting Mr. Bishop a bond. Mr. Bishop is originally from New York City, Judge. He moved to Atlanta about 20 years ago. He's been based in Atlanta ever since then, even though he has done some traveling. As the state spoke about, Atlanta is where Mr. Bishop hangs his hat. Mr. Bishop just turned 40 in the jail on April 29th. He did spend some time in the Army, Judge, before being medically discharged in the 2000s. After being discharged, he did get his high school diploma through Job Corps. Mr. Bishop has always been gainfully employed. He got his barber's license after getting his high school diploma. He opened a barbershop in 2013 that's called Bishop's HD Cuts. He sold that business in 2015, Judge, but it's still local, still being run, although no longer by Mr. Bishop. Mr. Bishop does have a stable address in Decatur, Georgia. He's currently 1 year into a 2-year lease, Judge. That's where the warrants in this case were executed, at that apartment complex in Decatur, and that's where he would plan to continue to stay when and if he's able to bond out of DeKalb County Jail. Your Honor, Mr. Bishop is suffering from extreme dental issues in jail. He has a tooth that is decayed down to the root that's causing him extreme pain. He has sought medical care for that situation, and all that he's been able to get for a response is that there's currently a long waiting list at the jail to be seen for that sort of issue, Judge. I understand that the state does have concerns about Mr. Bishop being flight risk. In order to allay those fears, the defense has no objection to house arrest being a condition of bond. We would not object to an ankle monitor. Of course, we would ask that the court allow Mr. Bishop to leave his house in Decatur to meet with his attorneys for medical care. For anything else, that's absolutely vital, Judge. Mr. Bishop does have significant support here. I believe his friend Aaron Dixon. Mr. Dixon, are you on the call? Might not be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Yes. This is Mr. Aaron Dixon, Judge. He is a friend of Mr. Bishop. He's here to show his support for Mr. Bishop. So in light of Mr. Bishop's significant ties to the area, in light of the fact that he has been a productive member of society and that he has opened a successful business, sold it, in light of the medical issues that Mr. Bishop is currently dealing with in the DeKalb County Jail, we would ask that the court grant a bond in the amount of $50,000. As I mentioned, we would have no objection to house arrest, to a stay-away order from the alleged victim in this case. And again, I just would like to reiterate that we would ask the court to see past the allegations in this case, because that's what they are at this point, they're allegations. and instead focus on the Ayala factors, which we think weigh in favor of granting Mr. Bishop a $50,000 bond, Judge.
Is there anything further from either of the parties?
Judge, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. And the person named Nisi, Nissei, if you could please mute yourself. Thank you.
Okay, are you able to hear me now, Ms. Honeycutt?
I am, Judge. Thank you.
I apologize. My voice tends to waver at times. Having heard argument from counsel, the motion for bond is going to be denied. I do find the defendant to be a danger to the community, a risk to intimidating the victim. There's also a risk of flight, and also the risk of committing an additional felony. So therefore, bond will be denied. That will conclude its hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor. And that concludes my business before you this morning. May I be excused?